Good evening and welcome. My name is Michele and I'm an independent demonstrator here in New South Wales, Australia. So it's great to have you with us tonight. If this is your first time on here, hi Deborah, how are you? If this is the first time you've been on here, please jump on, say hello, let us know where you're from. It's always great to say hi to new people. Okay, we're going to have another play tonight with the Meandering Meadows. I've got to keep thinking of that one. So let me turn my camera down, and I'm going to make a card a style that it's a fun fold, and I've never made this before. I've had a little bit of a play late this afternoon, so let's see if fingers crossed, one finger crossed for my internet to keep working because it was just playing up a little bit, and the other one that this fun fold is going to work out. So let me just flip my camera down and you can see what we're playing with. Okay, so I've got the stamp set here. I've already gone through the designer series paper and I've chosen this one to play with. The fun fold that I'm going to do now, I'm not quite sure what it's called, and if someone knows, please let me know, is this one. I've just done this in a piece of old discontinued Evening Evergreen, I think it was, cardstock. So we're going to have a little bit of a play with this. Hello, Joan. How are you? I am going to change it up a little bit. So let's get started. Now, this is the designer series paper I've chosen to use, but I can't work out what colour I want to do as my cardstock. And I was hoping that maybe you could help me on this. So I've got Highland Heather and I've got Orchid Oasis. So let me just move the Orchid Oasis out of the road. That's it with Highland Heather. It's picking up this beautiful soft purple colours there. And even though this is like bubble bath, it is sort of picking that up as well. So that's Highland Heather. Now if I take away the Highland Heather and bring in Orchid Oasis, then we're picking up more the blues in this. So I just thought, which one do you think? Is there a preference you've got to either one? Let me know. And that's the one we might use, we will use, because I like both of them, but I can't work out which one. Come on, guys, help me out. So we've got these two colours. Which one are we going to use? You like the Orchid Oasis? And Joan, you're like, oh, come on, guys, help. One each. Oh, that doesn't. Okay. Eeny, meeny. I think I'm going to go the Orchid Oasis. I like the brightness of it. So let's just pop that cardstock away. Now I've got pieces of basic white cardstock as well because I want to do some stamping on that. I've already cut this piece for the center. I will put all the measurements and everything on my blog when I get around to it. It's been busy sewing this. Everyone wants everything done this week. But I've cut that at, it's 8.9 centimeters by 10. So that's the piece that I've used, and that's the piece that's going to go on the inside there. Now I'm going to change my measurements on this piece in a minute, but you'll see how this is supposed to all go together in a moment. So I'm also going to use a piece of window sheet. So instead of using this bar across here, because I sort of felt like it cut my design up too much, I'm going to change it out and use a piece of window sheet, and I'm thinking of even bringing it right down the bottom rather than having it up from the edge. So let's see how we go. As I said, I've never made this card before, so this is just going to be all a little bit of a play and see how it all works out. So let's start with cutting our base. So I've already cut a piece of cardstock at in half, a piece of A4. Okay, so I've cut this at 14.9 centimeters, and I'm going to score this at 10.5. Make sure I've got my scoring blade there. Yes. Okay, now these two side strips which are coming, I remove that like that. I've got these two strips down here. So I'm going to cut that at 3 centimeters. So I'm going to take my cutting blade all the way to the top. Sort of move this around a little bit so I can see, because I just want to cut this to my score line at 10.5. Okay, so fingers crossed, we just take that straight down to that 10.5 mark there. So if I'm happy with that, I'm then going to, I want to do exactly the same on the other side. So I'm turning this around. Got to put this on my 3 centimeters. Now my cut piece is now down the bottom here. So I want to cut it down the bottom, not this top piece. So I've got it on my 10.5 there, and I'm just going to take that straight down the bottom. So that's going to give me, once we fold all of these pieces down, I'll get my bone folder and just, probably should have used my bone folder before I did this piece, because it looks like that just needs to come just that little bit more. It's okay, we'll make it work, even if I have to trim this down a little bit. Just want to get those edges all lined up. And I should have done this before I trimmed it, because the worst thing would be to tear. There we go. Okay, so there's my piece there. So that's going to fold up, and that's going to fold up. Now I'm wondering actually if we should have made that a little bit wider at 3.5. This is the piece that's going to go on the inside. So this piece is going to go, we'll keep going in the way. We've got it now. Okay. Now the one that I had seen on Pinterest, they had a floral in here. They used one of the paisley papers, and they had a gingham down either side here. Now instead of using a gingham, what I thought I might do is cut 2 more strips of the Orchid Oasis to fit in there, but I'm going to run it through and emboss it. Probably, as I said, if I did this again, I'd probably cut this at 3.5 and make it a little bit. Look, I'm going to do it with this piece. As I said, this is really my first time playing. So if I get my 10.5, I'm going to score that, fold that in half, this time this way. And this time what I'm going to do is just grab that there. So that's now on 3.5. Take that all the way down to there. Okay, I'm going to flip this over, pop that on 3.5 at the top. Make sure that's still there at 10.5 and score down there, cut down there. So that's actually giving me a better width. That little white piece I'm going to have to trim down. So that I'm much happier with that. So what I'm going to do with this piece here because I want those. I'm just going to cut these straight down here at 10.5. I'm not going to throw this away. Put that over there, because those two pieces, I just have to tidy them up. I think, no, I might just use the other piece and just cut 2 new pieces. Okay, so we're going to tidy this up, and I'm going to cut this down to 10. And I want to cut this at 3. Let me just see, because that piece was 3. And I'm going to cut. I sometimes don't like having a big, so I'm going to cut that at, I already cut at 10, so I have to cut it at 3. Okay, so I'm going to cut each one of these pieces at 3. Probably if I thought about it a little bit more. Get rid of that. I want those 2 pieces. They're my nice, neat pieces. Instead of cutting that at 10 centimeters deep, I might have made it a little bit longer, but that's okay. It'll all work out. We will make it work out. Okay, so I've got my big cut and emboss, and the embossing folder I've decided to use is this one here, which is the Distress Tile 3D, which is in our current mini, because I think this is going to be a really nice texture with those florals. And I'm going to pop them in here and line them up as best as I can. Not worried about them being exact. Pop our plate number 4 on top. So I'm only using the 2 plates, 1 and 4. Let me just turn this around a little bit so I can get that handle. Now we'll need that again in a little while when we do some cutting, but for the moment, just pop that over there. With these, and that's going to give me that beautiful, lovely texture on there. Just love that. This plate here, it's sort of got that really nice traditional but vintage look to it. Okay, so now we've got this piece, we've got those pieces. I still need to trim down my white, but what I need to work out is what portion of this designer series paper I'm going to use. So what this is going to do is we're going to have, actually, where is my window sheet? I've cut that already. What happens with clear pieces, you lose them. And I'm going to adhere that just up the bottom a little bit. I'm going to just trim off a little bit off this. Only just a couple of millimeters off. And that's just so that it doesn't quite go edge to edge. And this piece here, I'm going to use my Seal Plus because I just want to make sure it does stay. And I'm going to run a couple of pieces of Seal Plus, but I'm not, whoops, I should have probably gone in a little bit further from there. Started my Seal Plus a little bit further in than I really wanted to. I'm just seeing if I can sort of scratch it out of the road a little bit. Okay, so I want to put it in, but just inside that a little bit there. And I'm not quite taking it. It's going to the bottom, but it's not all the way to the bottom. It's about a couple of millimeters off, and it's a couple of millimeters in. Now, I'm not worried about that because these two pieces here, which we can pop on now, is going to cover that. Now, probably could have trimmed away the window sheet just that little bit more, just to cover. So then this covers up where that goes across. So I'm going to pop that on now, and I'm going to actually use my seal to do this, just for the fact that it's got a textured back. So that's going to go so really you want that window sheet just to be tucked in underneath this piece, these pieces here. Now, if I had have made, I could have made the window sheet as narrower, even as of to about a centimetre either side. So then that's well and truly hidden. Okay. So now, so that's going to come up like that. So we want to work out where we want this designer series paper to sit. So we can have it going with the tree. Now I'm going to use these edge pieces, so I'm sort of keeping that to the side. So we're either going to have it sitting like that with a little bit of the sky there, and that is our finished edge, which is roughly, find my little ruler here, it's around about 3 centimeters up. Or we could, I think we need to have a bit of that sky, and I'm actually going to be, I can go a little bit of that way, a little bit that way. I think I'm going to go across a little bit because I like picking up a little bit more of this colour. But it's up and down, so it's whether I go a lot more sky or in the middle. I think I like it in the middle, so I'm going to cut that 3 centimeter piece off the bottom. I hope you understand where I'm going with this. As I said, I haven't done this one before, so it is all learning as we go along. So I'm taking 3 centimeters off the bottom there, and I'm going to make that 10 centimeters at the top. I think that's what's going to be. Let me just double check, because we want to leave that little bit of an edge. So that's 10.5 in depth this way. So if I take off 0.5 centimeter, which is going to give me 10, I'm going to lose the top of that tree, but that's okay, I think. Let me just double check. Do I want to lose a bit of that tree, or can I afford to lose? So if that's going to come down, I think I can afford to lose a bit more off the bottom. So I'm going to make it 10 from the top. Maybe just take a little bit off the top. So I'm taking about 0.5 centimeter there off the top. And then I'm going to cut that 10. So that's probably a better way. I'll keep those strips. I can use them for something else. So that's going to go that way. Now I like to having more this side. So I want to cut this at, I'm going to cut it to start off with at my 15.9, but it is going to get cut down a bit more. You'll see why in a minute. So let's just have a look. So has anyone made this card before, this style of card? Or is this first time? So at the moment I've got it exactly. Now what I want to do is cut to that point there, which is the width of this strip here. I can cut that at, because I want this centerpiece. I'm just trying to work out what's the best way to do this, because we are going to lose little strips. So if I cut that there at 3, because this is 3.5 wide, that's going to come in to about there. So let's just try that. So that's a 3 centimeter piece. Then we have it's actually 7.3, the width of this piece in here, or 7.2. So, because that piece is going to get glued there. So we want 7.2. I'm just going to turn it around, which is there, but I want to take 5 mil off. So that's going to be 6.8. Oh, am I going to be right with this? Should I? Shouldn't I? 6.8. Let's just double check my measurements. So that's going to come to there. Now I can either cover that piece up completely or have a big gap. I'm going to cover what I say, 7.2. I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to 7.2, and then I'm going to go 3. Oh, fingers crossed. Hope everyone's got their fingers crossed for me that I've got it all right. Because I've just... So this piece I'm going to have here. That piece is going to go there, and this piece here, I wanted to cut it. I did it wrong. Okay. It's still going to work. I was just hoping not to have as big a gap. What did I cut it at? 7.7, not 7.2. So I've ended up cutting at 5 mil thereabouts anyway. That's okay. We can still work with that. I was thinking of cutting it at the last minute. I thought, no, I'll cut it exactly the same size as that piece in the middle so I don't get too much gaps in between, but that's okay. It'll all work. It'll look beautiful once we're finished. And I think I need to maybe get a new paper blade or clean my trimmer because it's cutting a little bit furry. Now normally I would use my multi-purpose glue, but today I'm just using this because it seems to be playing with me nicely. Line that up there. I wanted to do something with this designer series paper because I love it. And everything I was thinking of doing, just cut the paper up too much, or you lost it, or or something. So I was trying to find a card design or a fun fold design that it showed the paper off to its best. Doesn't that look pretty? Oh, okay, that's it. It's finished. No, not quite. Okay then. So now, this was the piece I was thinking of popping in here, but we need to definitely make this smaller. So I'm going to cut it the same size as I've cut this piece. That's 7.2. I'm actually going to make it just a fraction a little bit bigger. So there we go. And that's the piece that's going to sit inside there like that. So that'll be hidden underneath there. But you can see there, you've got quite a big gap now in between those. That's why I was sort of thinking of making the designer series paper the full width of this, even though it's got a, it wouldn't have had a bigger gap. But that's okay. We'll know for next time. It will look lovely. As my mother would have said, or my grandmother would have said, a man and his flying horse probably wouldn't notice the difference. So that's going to come down like that. So I'm not going to glue that in yet because I may do some sort of stamping on there, but we're going to do some stamping and some colouring and adding something on here. Okay, so this is where we're going to pull in. Got my normal little pile of mess going everywhere. Now, where did I put my dies? Here they are. Wondering if you could have, oops, don't lose that bit. You could have almost popped that in and die cut that, because that's about the same size, and just had that going. Now that would have been interesting. Here we're going off on a tangent. That would have been interesting if we had to cut that like that and then put the, because then you would have given you a window. Now there's one to try for later on. Okay, let's pop that over there. So here's our gate. So we could put that little gate there, or the other one would be to stamp this bigger gate, but then we'd be putting solid, because it just cuts out a solid piece. Or we don't put the gate at all. Let's think about that one. So let's do, so we might just think about that gate, because I would have preferred it if it was just that little bit bigger. The other thing we could do is cut two of them and have it coming from either side, not quite meeting in the middle. And it'd look like an open gate, maybe. We'll think on that. Let's just do some stamping. And then we can go from there. So my piece of basic white for stamping on, and we need some Memento Black. I've got picked out a whole stack of blends here. I've got Highland Heather, I've got Orchid Oasis, I've got Granny Apple Green, Lush, Old Olive, I've got Daffodil Delight, I've got Smoky Slate, and I've got my crumb cake there, but I'm not quite sure whether my crumb cake is going to work because I've just had to order today in the sale some new crumb cake. So I hope you all are taking advantage of the inks and everything that are up for sale and getting your discounts on those. Remember, that only goes for 3 days. So now at the moment I'm thinking about doing the wheelbarrow, but we don't have to do the wheelbarrow. I do like these flowers and possibly the flowers in the basket. What else have we got? Could go the wheelbarrow, and we could do the little birds. That could be quite cute. Think about that one. We could even forgo the basket of flowers, because really I just want it to look like a, might forgo that one. This one here is flowers, because I want it to look a little bit like a country lane type thing rather than on the edge of a farm. So that's why the gates I may think of not doing them, but we'll just keep playing along and see what we come up with. So there we go. So we've got some images. So let's just ink some of these up. I re-inked my memento the other day, so it should be well and truly ready to ink. Yes, nice and dark. Don't know whether it's going to be maybe a little bit too dark, but anyway, let's see how we go. Of course, the other colour you could use, which I might just stamp on the other side. Let me just grab clean all these off. Sometimes instead of using a memento, I do like to use basic grey, because it's not as dark, and plus I've re-inked that, so it's very strong. Hi Glenda, how are you? Thank you for joining us tonight. We're playing along with a fun fold that I've never done before, so we're just, I think I like that better. It's a little bit softer than all that black. Excuse me. Okay. So this shouldn't take too long to colour in. I want my Granny Apple Green, and I'm just going to use the fine tip and just put a little bit of Granny Apple Green. I'm using the light one at the moment. Just going to still use that fine tip and put a little bit more shadowing in that. And then I'm going to come in with my dark old olive. I'm really just drawing lines, just because there's not much in this. And then just filling in a few of those white areas with the, and blending that lighter old olive in. So I'm going to do the same thing with the flowers here. Start with my light in the Granny Apple Green, and I'm just putting just a few lines up there. There's nothing really much in that, and I'm just going to give a little bit of colour under the birds. Come in and just do a bit more. Then we've got the light old olive, the dark old olive we want. And of course, you could choose any colours you wanted. In this, you could definitely add a little bit of the darker shades of green, such as I think it's shaded spruce is one of the colours that are in this, but I did want to just keep this fairly light. Though I might just add a little bit of shaded spruce. Now, where did I see that? The shaded spruce in the light. You're just sort of building up your colours. So I'm just adding little lines of different ones, just adding a bit of shading. Because grasses and leaves are all different colours. They're no... Just add a few dots of this in there. You know, you can... Leaves and that can even have a bit of red in it. And it's not to do with autumn. It's just some leaves, depending on the plant, has got those reds and so forth in there as well. So now I'm just sort of having a look here. Don't think we have bubble bath in our blends, so I'm going to probably... Let's just have a look at the light flirty flamingo. Just want to add a little bit of... Again, I'm just adding dots of colour. I'm not really colouring much in. This one here, I'm just going to add a few dots. Because I also want to come in with the light in the Highland Heather. And then I want to do the same with the light in the Orchid Oasis. It might be just a little bit too dark, actually, for that one. Right, we'll see what the... But I just need to add just a few little highlights. It doesn't have to be too much. You can always come back in with... This is the dark in the Highland Heather, and just sort of give that a little bit more of a balance. And even in the flirty flamingo in the darker, again, just to fill in a couple of those holes. So I'm not really colouring anything going in. I'm just really just adding a few dots of colour, just like that. So hopefully that's going to pick up some of those tones on there. Okay, let's see how we go. Now we want these little birds. So I've got my smoky slate. Let's just give it a little bit of a colour test. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is just give them a little bit of... This is a smoky slate in the light. Not wanting to add too much colour into this. Now, this is my light crumb cake, and I'm just going to fill in. I'm just giving it a light colour. Some of those areas there. I do want to give these birds a little bit of a blue tone. So there is a bubble bath in the blends. I thought I would have had it last. Maybe I should have ordered that today as well. Okay, next order. I can't put it in today. I've already done my order. Okay, let's have a look. Just want quite a light blue. So let's grab the balmy blue. This is what happens. I pick out a few colours, and then as I start colouring, I start adding a few more. So I just want to add a little bit more blue into them. A bit more in their little... And I'm just dotting the colour in. I'm not being too aggressive with the colour. It's really just... and you can come back in with your crumb cake and again just sort of go over the top and blend all those colours in. I just add a little bit more, because you've got to be careful, because sometimes when you put the crumb cake over the top, it actually takes away some of that colour and some of that brightness. Just wanna... There we go. Don't want to make it too bright, but I just want a bit more colour in it. So let's cut these out, and then we can see, move all these out of the road to whether we need any more. So we need the dies for these ones. So we need... Now we could even... I've only cut one of the... done one of those. We could do two of them. That is for that one. And then the little birds is that. So let's just see how we go. I've only got the big machine here, so let's bring that in. Whoops. Sorry, just knocked my camera. So we've got plate 1, plate 2, plate 3. Now we've also got our sentiment to put in there yet, but we'll have a look. Got our birds. Hopefully everything won't move. Let's bring in our card. Now I don't like to sit things too close to the bottom, even though I've got that piece of window sheet there because you don't want things looking like they're going to fall off. So we can pop that on there like that. Now it's whether we put, might just die cut the gate anyway, and let's have a look, and then we can decide on whether we're going to use it or not. I'm going to get another piece. That piece will do. Smooth that out of the road again. Because it's such a fine design, like fine dyes, and the stamping, the images are quite a fine image. I don't sort of want to add other leaves or from other stamp sets in because they're sort of got quite, might be too big and overpowering. Now, I could have also cut this out in a crumb cake colour as well, which would have been quite nice. But we can actually, if I grab one of my brushes, I've got crumb cake ink here. Might just take away a bit of the starkness. Whoops, don't want to bend it. Of the white. And I might add a little bit of, so we haven't got all the one colour. A little bit of Pebble Path to it. I'll have to go back and watch the video again after this is all finished so I can remember what colours I've used on everything. Just want a bit of a worn old fence look. Okay, let's just could even have that there, bring these into here. I think I'm going to like this. Then have the sentiment over here. Okay, let's have a look at what the stamp set is giving us in sentiments. Okay, we've got a hello, we've got a thinking of you, happy birthday, and let's just have a look at was thinking is sorry, I'm just sifting around trying to find a particular die. I know I had it out earlier, so it has to be somewhere close by. Oh, look, it was there in my hands the whole time. Who does things like that? Pick things up and go through them about 10 times before you find you had it in your hand all the whole time. Okay, so stylish shapes, because I really love these. And we could do a hello in that or in the circle. I mean, I know the stamps in here could be slightly bigger, but I'm actually liking thinking of you, because then that could be for a birthday or for anything. So let's just have a look, see what size that particular stamp actually is. It's a lot bigger. And I might use Awkward Oasis as the ink colour. Another piece of basic white. And that one's going to be a little bit too small, so let's go the next size up. Just that one. Put those back in there before I lose them, because that'll be my next problem. It dies all over the place. Okay. Hopefully last time I'll bring this thing in again. It's such a big machine, and it's great to have. It takes up a lot of desk space. Okay. Try to put things away as I go, otherwise it'll just be lost. Okay then. We've still got that piece to put in, and we've still got to decide whether we're going to stamp anything in there. But if that goes there, then we could have that coming over. Let's just take these away for a minute. So if we pop that there, I don't want to put it down too far down. So you go down too far towards the edge and everything looks like it's falling off. Or do we put it over here because we've got a bit more green, because I love this section. I think maybe it might go over here. And then we could do the little birds coming off there. And we could have this little piece just tucked in there behind the birds. I think that's starting to look good. What do you think? Is that a layout we can all live with? I think so. Okay. So I need to only put glue on this section here. And I'm going to use, again, just keep using this. And I'm not wanting to raise this up, because if I'm going to raise anything up, it's going to be the flowers that it's going to sit on top of it. So let's just make sure that I've got push that down. Okay, then we're going to use a bit of glue on this. Now I do have to be very careful with using glue on the window sheet, because it can tend to slip a little bit. Whoops, I don't want to have glue too close to my top, because I'm going to have it just hold that down for a sec. Because if you do get a bit of glue oozing out, then just use your embossing buddy to go on the back there and just pounce it on there, just so the powder actually takes away some of that the stickiness. Okay, so I'm just going to use, I'll put the lid on that before that dries out. Use my mini dimensionals. I need to grab my, so I've got some little bits here, so I want to use these up. My dimensionals. So let's pop one there. Now again, I've got to be careful where I put them, because it's going to go. And the only problem is we're actually going to see it from the back. Well, it's going to happen. We're actually going to see the back of your dimensionals there. There's just nothing I can do about that. I didn't think about that. Then this little guy's here, we're going to pop on dimensionals. And he's going to go there. And this one here, we want to just put a little bit of glue on him, because he's going to go behind. So we want him sitting flattish. Going to give them a little bit of height, because they're going to come up and over the top. So let's cut some more of these. Okay. Now we probably could have sat, like if we had to put some more of these, we could have done some more coming out behind this thinking of you if I had have thought of that far ahead. But I think just for what we're doing tonight, that's looking really good. Now, this one here, this is going to go in here. And the question is whether I might just stamp, I'll do the basic grey. I'm thinking just the little birds. And really, you don't even need to colour them, I don't think. We'll just have a look and we'll see. It wouldn't take much to colour them. Just to give a little bit of an interest there. And let's just have a look. So what I did was a little bit of smoky slate. Might just give these a little bit of colour. We did the light crumb cake. And then we came back in with some balmy blue. So I'm going to add my dark one first and just put a little bit of colour there underneath their bellies. A little bit on their wing area. Even the top of their heads could have a little bit of. There we go. And there's that piece in there. So there's my card. Now I wonder if where are those little, these little fellas? Let's have a look. Pop one there. Another one there. Maybe another one just there. Okay. I love these little brass adhesive back dragonflies and birds in that the goldy brassy colour. They're beautiful. So there's our finished card. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I've actually really liked making that. It's the first time, as I said, first time I've made a card like this one. Probably a few things I might change is probably doesn't matter so much on the front of the card, but maybe even just taking the designer series paper right to the very edge of this piece here But I think it really showcases the designer series paper nicely, because when you open that up, of course, then you've got your whole scene going across, and you could even add some more of those brass birds into here if you wanted to add a little bit more interest, and then open it up, and we got somewhere to write on the inside. So definitely a fun card to do. And as I said before, I didn't want to put a solid color across here because I just really felt like you were going to lose too much of that beautiful paper by doing that, whereas that just showcases that beautifully. So I hope you can see that. But, keeping it rather simple. They're a very simple design to color because, as you saw, I really was just doing a few lines and some dots. I wasn't spending too much time coloring, but just very effective. The only thing I hadn't thought of, and a little bit disappointed, but it's not too bad, it's not too unsightly, is because we've used window sheet across here, you can see the back of all your die cuts and everything and your adhesive. But I think whoever receives this would forgive me for that. Anyway, thank you for joining me today, and I hope you've liked that, and I hope you will have a go at making a card similar to this yourself. I'd love to see what you create. So I will try. I've got a backlog at the moment of things I need to blog, but until the weekend and I can get a bit more of this sewing that I've got happening done, my blogging has to be waylaid. So I will try to get these measurements up as soon as I possibly can for you if you're after them. If you want them, all means, send me a message and I will write them up for you and send them to you. Okay, so have a lovely evening. Take care. I'm going to go and plant myself now in front of the TV and see if we can find something to watch on Netflix. So have a nice evening. Take care. And thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate everyone who does jump on. See you later. Bye.